Well, we are excited today to have with us Tyler Bahr. He's here running for the Aspen Peaks Seat 6 school district position. And Tyler, we appreciate you jumping on the meeting today.
Thanks for having me. Great to chat with you.
You bet. Just a little bit of how the format will work. We have 15 questions that have been submitted by readers of the American Fork Citizen, and we want to be able to ask you those. We'll ask for 1 minute responses. And after the 1 minute, just try to wrap up the context of what the answer is there. And then not a lot of questions about your direct background. We did do a candidate profile, and we'll ask voters to take a look at that online candidate profile. So this will be mainly focused just on the questions that residents have for you. So with that, Tyler, you okay if we get started?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. So the first question that we have down is what professional backgrounds and skill sets do you believe are most valuable for school board members to bring effective governance for the new school district?
I think that a variety of backgrounds and experience are important. No one particular experience or field would make a perfect board, right? So I think that there's certainly room for diversity. There needs to be parent perspective. There needs to be educator perspective, those who have experience in the classroom and as administrators. Also those with finance and business experience and acumen. And that's particularly where I come in. I'm the chief financial officer for the Salt Lake City Public Library and work for a number of other municipalities. And I think that it's really important that we get the new school district set up for success financially so that we can move forward on the other aspirations and initiatives that we want to see come out of the new school district.
Okay. Next question is what is your position on the proposed tax increment increase to fund facilities and capital expenditures? And how would you evaluate future tax policies decisions?
I think there's certainly many needs. We in Utah fund uh, education per pupil at a rate of about 67 cents, or about 70% on the dollar compared to the national average. So we've done a great job of stretching dollars. I think that there's a need to focus resources more in the classroom and possibly to bring in more resources as well. So I do think that there's a lot of resources currently that might be reallocated in the new school district as one district becomes three. There's going to be different needs. Some that will increase, some that will be able to be shifted. So certainly taking a look at what we have at our disposal first, but then identifying the appropriate level of funding for the things that we want to accomplish in this new district.
Great. What do you see as the most critical operational gaps that need to be addressed as we separate from Alpine School District, and how should we prioritize filling them?
First and foremost, reducing class sizes. I think that's operational that extends well beyond as well. There's capital needs that would be involved in that as well. Um, there's particular challenges with bus drivers, not having enough bus drivers, and the way that that's structured. There's just those folks are just running constantly, and that has a significant impact on our children's um, learning experience. If they're waiting for a bus for 30 minutes or an hour, or a bus doesn't come when they're expecting it, that could significantly impact their mental state there as they go into class and then as they leave school at the end of the day. So priority number one, reducing class sizes, but I think the transportation needs are critical as well.
Okay. How would you approach creating Aspen Peak's inaugural budget, and what factors should guide our financial planning process?
Okay. Um, I think there's a lot of good things that are going on in my home school district, so I don't want uh, to throw the baby out with the bathwater, if you will, right? Let's make sure that we're making, if we're making changes, and I expect there will be when we make changes, let's make sure that we understand the impacts, including the unintended impacts that those decisions might have. I think we need to look very carefully, like I say, the overall staffing allocation right now. And priority number one for me is reducing class sizes. So as decisions come up for where positions or resources might be allocated, there would have to be a very compelling argument for other positions that aren't directly in a classroom before we fill those ahead of maybe teaching positions or positions that are directly in the classroom.
Okay. And then how would you evaluate tax incentives and requests from development agencies, and what criteria should guide these decisions?
Well, that's a great question. Long term, there's certainly a balance, right? There is a lot of competition to bring businesses and other taxpayers into the system here. But we have a great community. We have a wonderful business community, and our economy is elite here in this valley and in the state. So we don't need to give away every incentive in the book, but recognize that there is some competition out there, and we do want to bring, if it's going to take a simple, a minor incentive here in the near term, but will help us long term. I think that there's certainly room for consideration in that.
Policy framework. How would you approach establishing school district policies for Aspen Peaks, adapting existing frameworks or developing new ones? And what should be the guiding process to this?
Start with the policies that are in place with the current Alpine School District and look to adjust from there. There's a lot of guidelines that are established by statute, and those have been well vetted and considered in the existing policies. So I don't think there's a need to draw from scratch all the policies out there. But I think there's certainly room for input from number one, taxpayers and parents, from teachers and administrators that need to weigh in as a school board member, and particularly one that has a day job. I don't see my role as one dictating each and every policy. So relying heavily upon those stakeholders to craft something that works for the entire community, I think would be important.
Labor relations. What approach should the district take in establishing relationships with employee unions and negotiating collective bargaining agreements?
That's a great question. Utah is a little unique in terms of collective bargaining agreements, right? And what you would consider a collective bargaining agreement in other states actually isn't really possible here in the state of Utah. I see the way that the statute is constructed and the past experience and behavior of the teachers union being very complementary with the progress that we want to see in the school district. I want to collaborate with the teachers union, and I see that as a great opportunity to have a somewhat consolidated voice to raise up those issues or concerns and needs that are universally or as globally as possible of priority for teachers.
Next question has to do with legislative relations. How should Aspen Peak School District engage with state legislators and position itself on education-related legislation?
Certainly a need for being proactive, building those relationships. The time to build relationships with legislators is not during the legislative session. So much going on during that. Bills flowing back and forth, so much attention that's required. So building relationships, from being proactive in identifying needs and helping legislators put forth bills that are going to be beneficial to the school district and demonstrate transparency, fiscal responsibility, and responsiveness to to taxpayers and members of our community who ultimately, if we're not doing a good job there, are going to seek alternative routes through the state legislature.
Next question has to do with classroom environment and expression. How would you balance educator professional autonomy with community standards regarding classroom displays and teaching materials?
There's a lot of good guidance in the existing policies and state statute. Um, I do want to certainly respect the guidelines. And there are particular boundaries that we as a community, we're not restricted just to those that are set by the state or elsewhere. And those need to reflect the values of our community and allow for some level of expression, right? Whatever that range of exploration that the community is comfortable with, I think can be healthy. We don't want to prescribe each and every display. We don't want to be very statutory in that manner, but set clear guidelines and examples and feedback from teachers as well as parents will help us, I think, articulate examples that will be helpful to provide clarity there.
Okay. Next question is similar to that. How should the district handle parent concerns about instructional material and library resources while maintaining educational quality?
You say maintaining educational quality?
Uh-huh.
Great. Well, there are certainly guidelines and policies in place from the state board, the state legislature. And if parents have concerns, we need to follow those policies and the policies for the district and be consistent in the way that we administer those. It comes down in some cases to free speech type considerations. Obviously, a teacher, there we have the ability to say what is and is not appropriate in many cases. But we don't want to be so restrictive that we are hampering creative thought and depriving our children of an opportunity there. So certainly following policies and being consistent, I think is key.
Great. Next one is almost similar to that one as well. What approach should the district take regarding health education curriculum and materials selection?
Parent acknowledgement, involvement is absolutely key. I think it's great to have the opportunity for children to opt out. I've had that, and I've been pleased with how the schools have made that feasible and reasonable to access. If we got a concern, parents are able to review that information. I think that absolutely should continue, and I think that's key. There's opportunity to review the information as a whole, but one curriculum or set of guidelines isn't going to fit every family's circumstance. So I think giving parents that option to self-select is absolutely critical.
Okay. Next question has to do with civic education. What role should civic education and constitutional studies play in our curriculum, and how can we best prepare students for citizenship?
I love this question. There's an amendment, it's the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution that is one of my favorites because it says that unless it's specifically delegated to or assigned to the federal government, all powers are left to the states or the people. And I think that's so important and helping our children understand that we have the ability and the opportunity and the great blessing to come together at a variety of levels and to form community and do good things together that we want to do for our community. I think that there's a lot that our children are missing as decades have passed. Not as much recognition of the sacrifices that veterans and others before us have made. And I think there's an opportunity to bring those stories, bring those real life examples back into the classroom and help children feel and have a relationship with those experiences.
Okay. academic standards. How would you approach decisions about graduation requirements and academic standards to best serve our students' college and career readiness?
Great. I lean on the second part of that question, college and career readiness, in particular, career readiness. It's not to say that every class that we offer, that we take, should necessarily lead to a career for every student. This is an exploration process. But at the same time, I don't want children coming out of high school and certainly not out of college uh, with degrees that they aren't able to apply in the workforce. And that might be trade school, it might be college, maybe that's something right out of high school. Um, but I think that it's very important to say, how does this prepare the child for careers down the road, and how do those other elements complement that objective? So,
Okay. Next question that we have is on how should the district respond to state policies regarding charter schools and school choice programs that may impact enrollment and funding for the district?
well, I think we need to demonstrate the value that the public school system has first and foremost. Um, I want to see our school district be a place that people are begging to bring their children to, and begging to work for. And that's the first part of that. Um, there, there is value, and I would advocate with the state legislature for a collective good. Although individual choice certainly needs to be respected, there is value in having people come together. And if public education or our public schools are not meeting a bar that results in parents taking their children homeschool or to charter schools, we need to really assess and advocate for mechanisms that make it more flexible for us to encourage those folks to stay.
Okay. And second to last question, what role should trade skills and technical education play in our district's offering, and how would you expand these opportunities?
Oh man, so much wonderful opportunity. I've got a nephew who graduated from high school with half of his diesel mechanics certification done. That's phenomenal. Um, Not everybody learns the same way, right? In any classroom, you might have uh, 3 to 5 children who are really getting it out of 30 children. There's going to be 3 to 5 children on the other end who are going to really struggle. The middle also, they're doing okay academically in terms of testing and whatnot, but there's opportunity there. And I think that education in trades is one that has been tapped very successfully in our school district. MTech is phenomenal and provides many economic opportunities for children to pursue that. But I would explore that even more and encourage all students to take some CTE education and pursue that.
Great. Our last question is kind of this open forum for you. So your chance to have 1 minute to appeal to voters with anything that you'd like to say here.
Great. Thanks so much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with folks. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician, but this is a pivotal moment for our community where we're creating new school districts, and we have to get it right. I want class sizes to be smaller and focus resources in the classroom. I want to protect teachers, compensation, retirement, their opportunities for training and collaboration. I want to enhance our financial sustainability, or take better advantage of our opportunities to collaborate with partners, including cities, the state, and other school districts now that are around us. My experience, my background in public finance, I think, uniquely qualifies me for this opportunity, this experience, to help the district get off on the right foot, to make sure that we have the financial means to drive this in the direction that we want to. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for taking time. I personally know that it's a lot of work to put your name and courage to put your name on a ballot, to put yourself out there to the public. doing a weird Zoom call to be able to do an interview, to be able to put out there on the public. So thank you for taking time today, and we wish you the best of success in the upcoming election.
Thanks so much. Take care.